is James Webb Space Telescope? How is it any different from Hubble and why do we need it? All these questions and much more answered after the intro. What's a space telescope? It's a telescope that operates in space, but why in space you may ask? And that's basically so we get a more clear view of the galaxies and stars and everything else which we can't get on Earth because of its atmosphere. Okay, but then what is James Webb Space Telescope? Webb was launched by NASA on December 25th to conduct infrared astronomy. Infrared? What is that? It's an electromagnetic radiation which is wavelength longer than visible light but shorter than microwaves. Alright, but then why does Webb have to observe in infrared? Because of redshift. See, redshift is basically the increase in the wavelength of electromagnetic radiation because of the expanding universe. And yes, the universe is expanding. Imagine electromagnetic radiation that was emitted from a very distant galaxy billions of years ago. Now this radiation is heading towards us, but as the universe is expanding, light itself gets stretched and its wavelength increases. Thus UV and visible light turn into infrared which has a longer wavelength. That's exactly why Webb is designed for infrared astronomy. Oh, so that's why it says that we can see the very first galaxies after Big Bang using Webb. Yes, exactly. Now that I think of it, what's the difference between Webb and Hubble? Can't we see these images with Hubble? No, we actually can't. You know what? I'll list out three major differences between them. 1. Webb observes the universe in infrared, while Hubble studies it in ultraviolet and visible wavelengths. 2. Webb actually has a much bigger mirror than Hubble. Like the mirror in Hubble is only 2.4 meters in diameter compared to 6.5 meters in Webb. And yeah, the mirror is actually amazing. I'll talk about it in a sec. 3. Hubble is in a very close orbit around Earth, whereas Webb is almost 1.5 million kilometers away at the second Lagrange point. Wait, you said 1.5 million kilometers, right? Why do we need to go that far? It's orbiting the sun at a very special point called Lagrange point. Lagrange points are positions in space where objects tend to stay put. The gravitational pull of two large masses, which in this case are the sun and the earth, equals the centripetal force required for a small object to move with them. This allows Webb to reduce its fuel consumption. But I guess you mentioned something about second Lagrange point. Surprisingly, there are 5 such points, but the Webb is on the second Lagrange point, and that's because all the three bodies, Earth, Sun, and the Moon, are on the same side of the telescope. Importance of which I'll tell you in a sec. It also does not orbit the Earth; it orbits the Sun, due to which it does not move in and out of the planet's shadow, heating up and cooling down and distorting its view. Also, it is close to Earth, so communication is easy. Wait, that last one didn't make any sense. If Earth is closer to the Sun, then it only makes sense that at one point in the future, Earth and the telescope will be further apart, and then communication would be difficult. Normally, an object circling the Sun further up than the Earth would take more than 1 year to complete its orbit. At the end point, the gravitational pull of the Sun and the Earth allows the telescope to orbit around the Sun at the same time it takes Earth. So it will also take 1 year to orbit around. Wait, that's insane. I know, right? Could you tell me more about the telescope itself? What do you want to talk about first? Sunshield, mirror? Let's go with sunshield. So mirror it is. Okay. Why do we need a mirror? Let's first clear that. We need the primary mirror to reflect light that falls on it, which then gives us the image. Why is it so big? 6.5 meter is huge. To increase the sensitivity. The sensitivity of a telescope is directly proportional to the size of the mirror. Larger area leads to collection of more light, just like a larger bucket would collect more water in rain. Why is it golden in color? Is it made out of gold or something? No, it's actually made of beryllium because it's strong and can hold its shape across range of temperatures. Gold plating is to increase the reflecting capability. The answer to that is in the description. Wait, a random question came to my mind. Wouldn't the sun be a huge problem because of its heat? Yes, it's a huge problem which was solved by the sun shield. Oh yeah, sun, shield, makes sense. Wait, that was obvious. I don't know, you wrote the script. Oh, right. Let's move on. Yes, the sun is a huge problem because the observations can only be made if Webb is kept under minus 223 degrees Celsius. It therefore uses a large sun shield to block heat and light that comes from Earth, Sun and the Moon. And here's where its position is a huge advantage because all the three bodies are on the same side of the telescope. The sun shield has 5 layers and they're as big as a telescope. And listening to this, the first question that pops in your mind is, how big is a telescope? No, that's not the question. It's not even in the script this time. Let's ignore this guy and ask ourselves, why does the sun shield have 5 thin layers instead of 1 thick layer? Answer to that coming in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The gap between each layer acts as an insulator. Thus each successive layer gets cooler and cooler. But one thick sun shield would conduct more heat than the other 5 layers. But here's something interesting. The difference between the temperature of the first and the last layer is almost 315 degrees Celsius. And the width of all the 5 layers combined is only 4.8 meters. That's genius. Wait, but what are they trying to achieve? Basically to observe the first stars and galaxies after the Big Bang. How long is Webb going to be in its orbit? It's actually designed to carry enough fuel for 10 years. But the precision of the Ariane 5 launch saved enough onboard fuel that Webb might just be able to orbit for around the next 20 years. That's quite a long time. But the thought that I'm having is, how do we end this video?